Sec 3 NA Mathematics, Chapter 5, Coordinate Geometry. Now today we only have one period lesson, so we're going to teach you a little bit of a skill relating how to find unknowns given an equation of a straight line. Now given an equation of a straight line, we can find some of the following information. Number one, we can find the y-intercept. Now, y-intercept means the number where the line cuts the x-axis. When it cuts the x-axis, what is the value for y? What happens to y? So when it's the x-intercept, x has a particular number, but it tells me that y is equals to 0. So this happens, y equals 0, and we find the value for x equals to what number? So similarly, if I were to find the y-intercept, what happens to the value for x? So if it's the y-intercept, it cuts the y-axis at a particular number. That means my x is now equals to 0. Find the value of the y number. Okay? And after which, we can also find, given the equation, find the value of y for a particular value of x, or find the value of x for a particular value of y. Okay, now let's look at some of the examples. Okay, you do not have this worksheet with you. You just need to, if you like to, you can write them down copy down the examples into your exercise book. Example number 1. So let's say this line is y equals to 2x plus 3. It cuts the x-axis. Now when you have a line that cuts the x-axis, what happens to the y coordinate? The y now becomes 0. So it says I have a point A. So what's the coordinates of this point A? Point A will be such that x is a particular number, cuts the x-axis, so you want the x-intercept, the x number. But then the value of the y will now be 0. Okay, and then it says that it cuts the y-axis. If it cuts the y-axis now, then what is the value for, what can you know? What do you know? I will know that x is now equals to 0, and the coordinates of B, the x is 0, but the y will have a particular value. So now question says, find the coordinates of A and of B. So now we're going to find the coordinates of A first. Coordinates of A is cuts the x-axis. When it cuts the x-axis, y is equals to 0. So when y equals to 0, my whole equation, y equals to 2x plus 3. Now the y value becomes 0. So given this equation, what can I find? I can solve for the value of x. 2x equals to negative 3, and x will be equals to negative 3 over 2, or negative 1.5. So if that's the case, what is the coordinates of A? The coordinates of A, they want to coordinate, right? So A will be x and y number. The x number will be negative 3 over 2, or some of you may write negative 1.5. And the y number will be 0. Right? So it's given down here, these two numbers. Now let's move on. How do we find the coordinates of B? B is the point where it cuts the y-axis. So when it cuts the y-axis, x will be equals to 0. So what do? We have our equation y equals to 2x plus 3. Now the x value becomes 0. So the y value is y equals to 2 times 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 3 is still 3. So y equals to 3. So if now they want me to find the coordinates of B, I will have x is to be 0, y to be 3. Okay, have you gotten the concept? Moving on to the next question, I have this question over here. The line 2x minus y equals to 1 passes through this point. Find the value of k. So now I know the equation is 2x minus y equals to 1. This point here tells me that x now becomes the number 2. So x now becomes the number 2. Minus y now becomes the number k. So y now change to k equals to 1. Find the value of k. So simplifying this, we have 4 minus k to be equals to 1. Negative k equals to 1 minus 4. Negative k equals to negative 3. Therefore, value of k is 3. So this is how we can use the equation to find the answer. Have you gotten the concept? Now let us try a few more questions before we let you do the quiz. Okay, now in this example over here, the point h, 1 minus h lies on this line. So I have this equation, 5x minus 4y is equals to 6. Find the value of h. This part over here tells me that x now becomes the letter h. So I have 5 times the letter h now, minus 4 times the y value now becomes 1 minus h. So the y holding now changed to 1 minus h and is equals to the number 6. So 5h minus this, let us simplify it. I have 5h. Now there's brackets over here. We need to multiply. Be careful of the sign. Okay, so minus 4. Negative 4 times negative h will give you positive 4h to be equals to 6. So 5 plus 4 is 9h minus 4 is 6. And 9h is equals to 6. Bring this over, become plus 4. 9h is 10, and therefore h will now become 10 divided by 9. Okay, we are not going to use decimal place because you need a recurring number. I can either use this improper fraction or I can also put it as a mixed number. So therefore you found the value of h. Have you gotten the answer? Last question before we do your quiz. Okay, example number 4. Given that the equation of this straight line is, a little bit difficult. So never mind, we can start off with the equation. 3y minus 2. Question asks us to find the x-intercept. Well, when it cuts the x-intercept will cut the x-axis. When it cuts the x-axis, what happens to the value of y? Y will be equals to 0. So I know that when y equals to 0, 2x, I do not know the x number, 3 times y minus 2, the number for y, the value for y now becomes 0. So I will have 2x to be equals to negative 2 and x to be equals to negative 1. Okay, so if this is the truth, then the answer will be negative 1 for the x-intercept. The question here did not tell me to find coordinates. It just say the x-intercept. So therefore, I just need x equals to the number negative 1. So negative 1 is the answer. Part 2. Find the coordinates of the point where it cuts the y-axis. Coordinates. Coordinates means I need a pair of x and y number where it cuts the y-axis. When it cuts the y-axis, what happened to the x? The x is now equals to 0. So my coordinates will look like 0 something, right? So I need to find that number. So when x equals to 0, 2 times something equals to 3y minus 2. The x now is the number 0. So 2 times 0 is to 0, right? 0 equals to 3y minus 2. 3y equals to 0 plus 2. Y equals to 2 over 3. So now I know the coordinates. The coordinates will be the number 0. X is 0. Y is 2/3. Have you gotten all the concepts? Now, if you like to, you can copy down all the examples. Okay, but if you don't think that is necessary, it's okay. Let's try to consolidate your understanding and check your understanding using the quiz. So in next part of the lesson, finish up the quiz and then submit your answers. You may use the videos over here to help you to check your concepts. See you for the next lesson.